Hi, I'm Andre. Nice to see you again on my channel. Special shout out to my subscribers and of course my Riverdale fans, because it's time once again. What the hell, Riverdale? Reviewdale, another episode of the CW's Riverdale, the dark series based on the Archie comics, aired last night. And man, a lot of stuff happened last night. We got some revelations about Archie, Miss Grundy, Veronica'S mom, Jughead, Jughead's family. There's so much in this episode, so let's get right into it. It got revealed to Betty and Jughead last week that Grundy was at the lake on July 4th, and Betty already knew that Archie was there on July 4th, so they pretty much put two and two together that they were probably there together. And Betty wrote this all out in her diary, which is also an Archie comics reference. Betty used to have a series of comics called Betty's Diary. So nice little nod to that in there. Archie and Archie's dad went to a concert to see Miss Grundy perform, and again, she's always this, all the time. Got that freaking cello right between her legs. Meanwhile, Archie's like looking at her and imagine that he's that cello. But Archie's dad still trying to get him some. He's like, oh, come to dinner with me and my son. And I was like, oh, this is awkward. And so when they go to Pop's Chocolate Shop, which apparently is the only restaurant in Riverdale to go to, Betty confronts Archie and is like, look, what's up? Are you and Miss Grundy doing a thing together? Are y'all seeing each other? And while she's having this conversation, Veronica walks up being all nosy, so she finds out too. So now Jughead, Betty, and Veronica know that Archie's got some nasty things going on with him and Miss Grundy. Archie's, of course, like, keep it secret, don't tell anybody, you don't understand what's going on, you don't understand how she likes me, and all that stuff. It's just some classic closet trap, it's like a Lifetime movie syndrome right now going on here. Betty can't let it go, so she has this interview with Miss Grundy to get some more information about her.
Thank you for taking the time, Miss Grundy. Like I said,
oh shoot, oh shoot, and Betty know what's going on too? Get her.
Let's begin.
Get her.
Where did you move to Riverdale from?
Yeah, where'd you come from?
Mostly in the road. But you've taught at other schools. Oh,
right, right?
Yeah, right.
Go, you guilty! She has traveled to various schools, gone to various places, is very vague about her backstory, except for one specific thing. Betty asked Miss Grundy directly about doing this one-to-one working with Archie on his music and asked her if she's done that before.
Working with Archie Andrews on an independent study.
Yeah, working real close, smoochy smoochy.
This sort of thing before?
Yes. Yeah, you've been with some other
Last
students?
Year. With Tomoko Yoshido. And Jason Blossom.
Say what now? Say what now? Bum, bum, bum. Yes, apparently Miss Grundy had a one-on-one tutorage with Jason Blossom a year ago before, of course, everything happened to him. And of course, when she brought that up and Betty was like, say what now? She's like, oh, you know, such a tragedy. I'm like, So I don't know if this means Miss Grundy has anything to do with the murder of Jason Blossom, but I'm gonna assume that she made Blossom bloom at least once or twice, if you know what I'm saying. Miss Grundy liked them redheads, man. She's a ginger freak, she's ginger freaky now. Then Betty and Veronica basically become like the Nancy Drew mysteries. They do some searching on Miss Grundy online and they find out, there's not a lot of information about Miss Grundy. Her Facebook, her LinkedIn account, everything about her on social media had started exactly 1 year ago, and they haven't found anything else about her before that. The only thing they have found was a picture of an old woman, also named Geraldine Grundy, who died 7 years ago. And what's really cool about that picture is the picture they got. It's a live action photo, but it looks almost exactly like the Miss Grundy from the Archie comic books, the actual Miss Grundy, even down to the polka dot dress. And there's a photo that got posted from the people that work on Riverdale, and it's a picture of the woman that they got to dress up like Miss Grundy for the photo and the woman that's playing Miss Grundy in the show side by side. And it's like, blew my mind, because I'm like, wait, who's the real Grundy? Who's the real Grundy? Betty breaks into Miss Grundy's car. Dang, Betty, you were just hardcore right now. She breaks in the car, she picks a lock on this tackle box inside Miss Grundy's car, and they find a driver's license. She has an old driver's license that says that her name is Jennifer Gibson. What? Is she Debbie's sister? And not only do they find that driver's license in that box, they also find a gun. And not just a regular gun, like a big, huge 6-shooter, like the one you pull the thing out and you just twirl it around like you're in the old saloon and you put your bullets in. I'm like, who is she? Is she McCree now? Miss Grundy walks in, it's high noon. That's the biggest gun I can imagine her having. It was just crazy. Like, I was expecting like a little like pew, but she's all like pew. She put it in her holster when she's done. So Betty takes the gun with her, and once again, Betty and Veronica confront Archie and is like, you don't know this much about Miss Grundy. Her name's Jennifer Gibson. She's got a gun. She doesn't have a past a year. You gotta ask her what's going on. Archie's like, nah, man, I'm getting that old lady booty. Don't mess with me. But let me just ask this out there, just throwing this out there. Did they actually ever, you know what I'm saying? Like, I kind of feel like they're just making out. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm just trying to be all innocent with this, but I feel like they may have just made out. I don't know. Anyway, they still wrong. Archie finally confronts Miss Grundy and is like, what's going on? Is your name really Jennifer Gibson? Can you please tell me the truth? If you care about me, tell me the truth. And she breaks down, boy, and she tells that story. Oh my God. She talks about how she used to be married and she had a husband who was mean and abusive and drunk and would come home and hurt her and always would promise never do it again. And of course he did it again. And so therefore she wanted to keep herself safe. So she divorced, changed her name, moved away. And then that's when she found Archie. And this is where Riverdale gets me, because when you hear a story like that in any other element, in real life or on TV or movies, if you hear that, you'd be like, oh, well, it's terrible. Oh, I'm so glad you survived. But damn it, Riverdale, you made me feel guilty, because I'm sitting there going, this is exactly what happened to me last week with Ethel. I was like, I'm supposed to feel bad about Ethel, about what she's talking about, what happened with her and Chuck. But the whole time when she's all happy that Chuck's getting his just desserts, literally with the freaking maple syrup, the way that she had that look on her face, and when they were like, Ethel's not lying, and they did that close on her face, you were like, I don't know, is Ethel lying? But then I feel bad. I was like, well, if she's not, then I feel terrible for not believing her story. And I feel the same way here. Miss Grundy's telling this story, and it's a very sad story, but the whole time I'm sitting there going, particularly because she said that she met Archie after she left, when we already learned from Betty's interview that she was doing other stuff as Miss Grundy before she even met Archie at other schools with other students like Jason Blossom. So that wasn't a 100% truth, even if that part of the story was true. So I don't know about Miss Grundy, man, and I just don't know. But then things get more complicated, because Betty's mom goes into Betty's room to clean up, and she finds the gun that Betty took from Miss Grundy's car, and then finds Betty's diary, because Betty doesn't decide to put a lock on her diary. Come on, man, you gotta get one of those old 90s diaries, the ones where you had to talk into the diary. Remember when like you could put your voice in it? So now Betty's mom knows what's going on. She even goes up to Archie's dad, who she had met earlier in the episode, and was like, I don't want your son to be around my daughter because I don't trust him. Now she's got some actual dirt. So she finds Archie's dad at the drive-in, which we'll get to drive in a little bit. And then Betty's mom, Archie's dad, and Betty confront Archie and Miss Grundy, just as Archie was telling Miss Grundy, you know what, we probably shouldn't do this. Let's end this right now. I'll see you around. You're a good friend. Thank you for all your help with the music, but I'm actually gonna stop this on my terms. I'm like, you know what, that's pretty cool. And then all this gets confronted. And I gotta be 100% honest, man, this was probably the weakest part of the episode for me, just because Archie was like, let's stop this. Fine. She gets busted. You're gone. That was fine. But then Betty comes in and says that she'll say that the whole thing is a lie that she wrote down in order to protect Archie, because Betty's mom isn't even worried so much about what Miss Grundy is doing to Archie. She's more worried about taking Archie down, because she just has this vendetta against him, because seeing Archie hang out with Betty keeps reminding her of Jason, Blossom, and Polly, and she wants to keep Betty safe. But she keeps thinking Archie's gonna be like Jason. The many times that Betty keeps saying, Archie is not like Jason. They're not the same person. So that's why it all gets like this weird convoluted thing. I don't know, man. It was just, for so much of this build up for this one storyline, I think for it to be like all these weird things that happen all at the same time, I felt like I was in the writer's room going, well, we can end it like this, or we can end it like this, or we can end it like this. And it finally just ends with Miss Grundy being like, I'm just gonna leave town. And she's like, y'all can't even figure out what you wanna do with me, so I'm gonna leave. So Geraldine is gone, she's packing up her bags in her car, and you're thinking, you know what, maybe her story is true. Maybe she did have a lapse in judgment because of how much she was hurt, and Archie was just kind enough to her that that's why she had this forbidden love. But now she probably realizes the error of her ways, and she'll be a better person. Nah, man, she ain't even right in that car about to leave yet, and two dudes walk by, and she got them heart-shaped glasses on, being like, hey, boys. And I'm like, Geraldine Grundy, I'm sorry, Jennifer Gibson, you're gonna strike again, aren't you? She goes away, and you're thinking, that's it, goodbye Grundy, but I'm like, I don't know. I kind of feel like, particularly with her having some kind of connection to Jason Blossom, we are probably going to see her again, because if this was it, then it's kind of like, we didn't really need this, you know, because it didn't really add that much to it. It just would seem like a thing that they just needed to do to be like, oh, we're being scandalous. This is how Riverdale is different from the old Archie comics. But I have a feeling that Jennifer Gibson, that's what I'm calling her, because she ain't Miss Grundy. Miss Grundy's that dead woman, not this woman. I feel like we're going to see her again. But that was that. Let's talk about this drive-in, because there's this drive-in in Riverdale that clearly has caused all kinds of issues and secrets and scandals going on in this entire town, okay? So Jughead works at this drive-in, and he is upset because the mayor has officially closed the drive-in. She sold the land to an anonymous buyer, and now the drive-in is closing. This hurts Jughead so much because he works there, he loves the drive-in, he feels like it's the last piece of what old Riverdale represents. And I love they kept saying like, old Riverdale is dead, this is the new Riverdale that we're trying to make. And I was like, I see what you're doing there, I get the metaphor. So of course Jughead wants to have a last night at the drive-in. Didn't this happen in Dawson's Creek? I feel like this is the exact similar plot line as something that happened in an episode of Dawson's Creek. Let me know. So they're all suggesting movies that they want to see for the last night. Is it just me, or did it seem weird that they did this really close-up of Kevin when he suggested he wanted to see The Talented Mr. Ripley?
Or The Talented Mr. Ripley.
And then just like held on him after he said that. I'm like, wow, Matt Damon's getting a lot of press this week. But why is Kevin all onto The Talented Mr. Ripley? And speaking of Kevin, you know, I've made some complaints in the past. I feel like they haven't really been doing a lot with his character. I think the actor is fine, but I feel like they've just kind of regulated him to the gay best friend stereotype. So I love the scene with him and his dad. This was the first time we got to see him with his dad, who is the sheriff of the town. And I was curious, what does the sheriff know about Kevin being gay? And apparently he knows everything. Because I thought it was going to be one of those things like maybe he's still in the closet with his dad, or maybe his dad isn't fully accepting of him and his lifestyle. But his dad is completely cool with him being gay. And also, it was kind of neat. His dad was basically even trying to tell him, why you gotta be the gay best friend stereotype? Kevin decides he wants to go to the movies with Veronica because he doesn't know any other gay boys that he can go out with. And even his dad was like, really? You gonna hang out with Veronica? There's no other gay boy you can go out with or anything like that? You don't wanna just like try to date or something like that? You really just gonna be the gay best friend for Veronica, huh? That's my boy. I was like, this is a very interesting conversation. I just really like that scene because I thought it was a touching scene where a parent was talking to his son, and him being gay didn't change the conversation. It was still the same kind of conversation. Like, he could have been straight, and it could have been the same conversation of, why are you just hanging out with your friends? I would like for you at this point to maybe meet some people you could possibly date. So I was like, that's a nice conversation. What's also interesting about that scene is we find out that Kevin's dad has this giant murder wall trying to connect all the clues of who could possibly have killed Jason Blossom. So he's got pictures of all the different people in Riverdale. He's got the little strings across. You know, you've seen that whole thing from procedurals and crime dramas before. But he has this on his wall at his home. Kevin and his dad come home later. Their house has been broken into, and that wall is completely destroyed. Now, here's where it gets interesting for me. It's like, okay, I see that could happen. Maybe people know where Kevin's dad lives, but who would have known that he had that wall at his home? He could have had that in his office maybe, and I could see that. But as of right now, the only people that we know that knows that he had that wall was Kevin and his dad. So could Kevin possibly have done it? Like, could he be the person that's behind this? Is he hiding something? I'm starting to suspect Kevin on things now. Kevin, what you doing, Kevin? But Kevin does go to the drive-in with Veronica, and Cheryl Blossom hangs out with them for some reason, even though she burned Veronica earlier on something, which I'll get to in a bit. But Kevin and Veronica are hanging out, and they keep getting interrupted in the movie by the Southside Serpents, which is actually a reference to Archie comics. There's a gang in the Archie comic series called the Southside Serpents. I think it's in the regular Archie comics. I remember it for some reason from the little Archie comics. But yeah, the Southside Serpents are from the south side of Riverdale. They're the evil biker gang, and they have snake tattoos. And if you talk to them, they always go, hiss. So Kevin talks smack to them, Veronica talks smack to them, and then Kevin goes to get some food, and he looks over from a distance, and I think he sees Moose. I'm guessing that was Moose making out with Midge, even though we know earlier that Moose was kind of bi-curious with Kevin, but I guess he made his decision of what he really truly wants, and Kevin feels bad about it. And then he gets confronted by one of the Southside Serpents named Joaquin, and then they cut to a later scene in Riverdale. You freaking got me. I can't believe I fell for this. So they do a shot of Kevin's food completely knocked down on the ground. You see Kevin's legs pinned up against a fence. You hear this grunting and panting. You're like, oh man, is Kevin getting beat? Is this dude beating up Kevin because of what they did earlier when they were talking smack to them? Nah, they ain't talking smack, they just smacking. Kevin is straight up making out with this Southside Serpent. I was like, damn, get it, Kevin! What? He's like, I'm tired of everybody else kissing in this show. It's Kevin time. So then Kevin gives his phone number to this guy, and then the guy's like, oh shoot, you Kevin Keller, like Sheriff Keller's son? Damn, I'm a Southside Serpent. Are we cool with that? And Kevin's like, I ain't gonna tell if you ain't gonna tell. And then they start making out some more. I was like, ooh, this is another scandalous relationship. You got the son of the sheriff making out with a kid from one of the most notorious gangs in Riverdale, which I'm pretty sure is the only gang in Riverdale, but still, in that case, notorious. But the Southside Serpents aren't just messing with Kevin's life, they're also messing with Veronica's life. For some reason, Veronica's mom keeps sneaking off to hang out with one of the Southside Serpents. Cheryl Blossom notices it at Pop's chocolate shop where she's been working and is like, Veronica, do you know about this? She took a picture of it. Veronica confronts her and she's like, oh, that's an old childhood friend. I don't know what you're talking about, dear. Mija, you cool. Don't worry about your mom. But then Veronica notices that it happens again at the drive-in and is like, what's going on? And this is where things get complicated. Stay with me now. So remember like first episode when Veronica's mom got this big bag of money from her husband who's in jail, Hiram? Veronica's mom gives Mayor McCoy a bunch of money for her campaign, and in return, Mayor McCoy gives Lodge Industries the chance to buy that real estate over anybody else, particularly the Blossom. So she basically bribes the mayor in order for Lodge Industries to get the drive-in land. And to make things even crazier, Veronica's mom finally reveals to Veronica that the reason why she was talking to the Southside Serpents is that she was paying them. Veronica's mom and dad paid the Southside Serpents to hang out more at the drive-in, to bring the property value of the drive-in down because they're a bad element of Riverdale, to make people not want to go to the place because it was bringing in bad people. So because the property was going down, no one went to the drive-in. That made the drive-in close down so that Lodge Industries could turn around, bribe the mayor, and then from bribing the mayor, get the first pass at buying the land to then own the land to do something else with it. Oh my God, what the hell, Riverdale? Jughead even goes to Archie's dad, who's gonna be doing the construction on tearing down the drive-in and building whatever's gonna take its place. And Archie's dad's like, sorry, Jughead, this is a lot of money for me. We gotta do this. And Jughead's like, well, you're putting me out of business. I work there. He's like, this is now the second time that you put a Jones out of business, revealing that Jughead's dad used to work for Archie's dad at the construction company, but Archie's dad was like, but your dad was stealing stuff from me. He was stealing lumber from us, so I couldn't have him on anymore. And then, freaking Riverdale, just when I'm like, this episode's okay, so you get me right at the end. So we find out that Jughead is not just mad about this place closing down because it means so much to him growing up, because he works there, because he used to spend time with his family there. It's because he lives there. We see him packing up the last day of the drive-in, and it pans out and you see a bed inside of the projection room. He walks outside. A Southside Serpent confronts him and says, you know they're gonna shut everything down. You know they're gonna knock everything down. He's like, I know. He's played by Skeet Ulrich, which is a nice reference, horror reference, because Skeet Ulrich, of course, was in Scream, Billy Loomis. And then we find out that that Southside Serpent is Jughead's dad. And that Jughead is homeless. His dad is not taking him in because he's living the life of the biker gang, and Jughead has been living in that projection booth in the drive-in, and so now that it's being shut down and knocked down, Jughead has no home. And he's got a backpack and just figuring out where to go to next. His dad even asked him, like, where you gonna live now? And his Jughead was like, I'll figure it out, I guess. Walks away from his dad and just keeps walking. We got a homeless Jughead, y'all. The homeless population of Riverdale is Jughead. And if that don't bring the feels too much, Jughead also talks about the reason why he wanted to protect the drive-in is because he used to sneak into the drive-in with his little sister Jellybean, which is a reference to Archie comics. Jughead had a baby sister, Jellybean. I think I actually remember reading the comic when that got introduced into the Archie stories. We hear Jughead talk about Jellybean, and we see a picture of Jughead with Jellybean when they were younger. If Jughead is homeless and his dad is roaming around with the gang, where is Jellybean? Where is his little sister? Why is she no longer around? Is she dead? Is his sister dead and that why he's the way he is? Or did she just disappear? Or, oh man, that's deep, man. What happened to Jellybean? Where are you, Jellybean? So yeah, man, it was some intense stuff that happened. Luckily, CoverGirl was there to keep lightening the mood by showing us the makeup transition for Lily Reinhart to turn into Betty. Man, CoverGirl is all over this show. They had that close-up of the CoverGirl makeup in last week's episode. It was like a shot just of CoverGirl, no actors in the shot at all. So yeah, man, I don't know who to thank more, the CW for having this show or CoverGirl for paying all the money to make this show happen. I now want to see Veronica's mom go into the CoverGirl office with a bag of money and is like, here's a bunch of money, make Riverdale stay on the CW. Dude, CoverGirl, if you throwing out money like that, I mean, I'm a dude, but I'll put your makeup on if it means I get paid for it. I'll get sponsored. Black Nerd Comedy, sponsored by CoverGirl. Watch Riverdale Thursdays, 9/8 Central on the CW. Sell out. So this was an okay episode. We got some information out there that was interesting, although I just personally was more into the drive in what's going on with Jughead, what's going on with Veronica and her mom plotline than the Archie Miss Grundy storyline, which was taken front and center. And I just feel like the way that kind of ended was a little muddled, but again, I don't think it's the very end of that story, so we'll probably see some more of that. But overall, still good stuff. Definitely excited. Very interested in what's going to happen next week. They showed a quick promo for next week that was just showing that I guess they're going to have some kind of funeral, official funeral for Jason Blossom, and maybe we'll get some new revelations from that. There was one particular part of the promo where we saw Cheryl Blossom's mom in front of Archie and was just like, you look just like him, and was like touching his hair, and I was like, oh, come on, man, I ain't ready yet. One scandal at a time. Let me know your Riverdale theories. Do you think we're gonna see Miss Grundy again? What do you think's going on with Veronica's mom? What do you think is going on with Jughead's dad? What's up with Jellybean? Do you think she's dead or missing or just left Riverdale? And most importantly, who tore down that murder wall? Who did it? Make sure you are subscribed and ring that bell to be notified of future videos that I make. That way you'll be the first to know when these Riverdale recaps come up, and you can be the first to talk about Riverdale with me because I read a lot of the comments when I first upload the video. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your support. I love you like a play cousin. I'm Audi 5000. Chain Chomp. Yo.